Okay, good evening YouTube, good evening and welcome to this next episode of the FPL Family. This is episode 39 of our second season in FPL, episode 39 already. This is a Gameweek 24 preview video. Normally we would be reviewing on a Sunday night, we'd be looking back at all the fixtures that we've had over the weekend, but of course, we've had the FA Cup, and it feels a little bit, don't know what it feels like to you, feels like the magic of the Cup might be disappearing a little bit. Are the Premier League clubs taking it seriously anymore? I don't know.
What cup?
Well, yeah, clearly.
The what?
Clearly, we are both really nonplussed with the Cup this year. I mean,
trophies? Nah.
Yeah, who wants to lift a trophy? Who knows?
Who needs a couple of cups in a week, you know?
Yeah, I mean, it's a strange one, isn't it? When you look at the Premier League teams that are still left in it, there's maybe 5 or 6. I think Brighton and Wolves have got a replay in each of theirs. So there's maximum of like, I don't know, 7 or 8 Premier League teams left in it. There's so many teams out. It feels like a lot of these clubs are not taking it seriously. It feels a bit like the League Cup 2.0. Who
wants to win the League Cup?
Who needs the League Cup either? Spurs out of 2 cups in the space of, 4 days? Who needs a cup, Sam? Who needs a flipping cup? It's all about the league now, isn't it?
I've got a cup.
It's all about
quite
the
nice.
league.
It's pink. Stick it in a cabinet for them down at White Hart Lane if they like.
The only thing that's in the cabinet is that mug. Well,
yeah, Vertonghen might be if he carries on.
Well, who knows? So, did you see that? Is it coming on? Guys, have you not seen that? Jan Vertonghen, by the way, the actual Jan Vertonghen
No,
Twitter.
it can't be.
It's verified his account. It's got the little blue tick.
Somebody must have hacked him or something.
It's got the little blue tick.
Yeah, Vertonghen doesn't say things like that.
Guys, get over to our Twitter, at FPL Family. I've just retweeted a tweet from Jan Vertonghen. It might have been deleted by now, but he's just put a tweet out there, the actual Jan Vertonghen, proper blue tick and everything.
No.
And it says, little update, : we are, and then a swear word that rhymes with hit.
So I've just kicked the camera. I'm sorry about that when it jogged.
By the way, that is the least of our technology issues tonight, by the way. I can update on that in a minute.
Somebody must have nicked his phone, or I don't know. Poch is going to go absolutely.
It's the actual account, though.
He's going to get in big trouble.
I'm just saying he's going to be in big trouble.
To be honest, he was telling the truth.
You were pretty bad today. Spurs were pretty bad, and we'll come to that in a minute, guys. We will have a little bit of a review, if you like, of what was going on in the FA Cup.
No, we're not talking about the Cup.
I've got to do a little bit.
No, I don't want to talk about it.
So, guys, we're going to get to the main screen as quickly as possible today because we've got some new technology going on here, and I can already see that the chat window is a little bit wonky here.
I can't read that. Look, it's even smaller than normal.
Yes, you can. Oh, you guys are saying it was from 2012 when Spurs were actually... well, it might not have even been playing for Spurs in 2012. So I've been done by that. I've been completely done. I thought that was from today.
Well, I'm glad because I thought when you said that to me, I thought, my God, he is actually dead. Poch is going to kill him.
Good. All right. Well, you guys are saying it was from 2012. I've been completely done by that. I was totally thinking, and I only just saw it just as I was coming on. I thought, oh my God! So I retweeted it straight away.
Well,
It is
still relevant to today.
It is still relevant for today. We're going to come to that in a minute. So, guys, thank you for joining. As you guys will have seen in the live chat, we've got a new laptop running. So, I've got a new laptop running. So, and it's a Mac, and I'm not used to Macs. I'm used to good old-fashioned Windows. I know a little bit of Linux. I know a little bit of that, but I'm not au fait with Macs, and I can already see that the microphone level might be a little bit high. So guys, if you feel like we're shouting, tell us. If you feel like the stream is buffering too much or something's looking wonky in the live chat, let us know. It looks as if this microphone, look, it's pushing up into the red. So look, we've got to turn this down a little bit. Look, let's turn this down. I think we need to go into here. Then we need to go into maybe about here, I think, 130, and then close that up. That's it. Hopefully that's not too bad. So guys, this is the first time we've used this technology. So as we know in FPL Family and from previous streams, when we have new technology, things tend to take a little bit of time to settle down. So I'm going to do my best. But guys, thank you very much for joining. We're going to talk to all of you guys. We're going to see who's in. So tell us where you're from. Tell us... also about trial and error with the Mac tonight, Josh is saying. You're absolutely right. Joseph O'Gorman, it's not full screen. Yeah, you're spot on with that. I don't know why that is. There seems to be like borders on the left and right hand side. Who knows? You guys are saying the sound is fine, so that's good. It's not full screen. Yeah, don't know why that is, guys, but we will try and fix that for next time. So who knows? So let's say hello to a few people. I feel like I'm a bit preoccupied by the technology. I just need to trust in the technology and get on with it. Hard to do that, though. Very hard to do that. I just want to try and get on with it. So
I can't really help with this. I'll just sit here and drink some tea.
Sit and drink some tea. I think that's a good idea. Sheriff is here. Hi from Egypt. How are you doing? FPL Shake. Live from Qatar, he says. FPL Shake, thank you for joining. Phil Potter is here. How are you doing, Phil? Tom Gravgard must be one of those Retina screen jobs. Yes, it is, I think. It's a MacBook Pro 13-inch or something. So, yeah, I think that's what it is, Tom. If you know how to fix it, let us know. Josh Telling, how you doing, Josh? FPL Gazmo is here. Hi from Glasgow, where I spent a couple of days, didn't I, last week? In I was going to say sunny Glasgow, but it really wasn't sunny Glasgow. I didn't really know whether to get an Uber or to ski into Glasgow city centre. It was really quite snowy on the mountains in the way in. Hannah's here. Hi from Chicago. Did you know Hannah was in Chicago?
No, I didn't.
All this time, Hannah, I thought you were in the UK.
Hannah, have you always been in Chicago?
Have you always been in Chicago,
Because I
Hannah?
really like Chicago and I'd like to go there on holiday, so can we go and meet Hannah?
We've been on holiday to Chicago. It was flipping great. Navy Pier and all that. It was lovely.
There.
Yeah, there you go.
And, yeah.
Jeff is here. How are you doing, Jeff? Still in Gloucester, he says. Not quite as glamorous as some of the other places, but Jeff, thank you very much for joining.
There's nothing wrong with Gloucester. I lived there for a year.
Nothing wrong with absolutely nothing wrong. More people pointing out that the tweet is from 2012. Yes, I've been absolutely done by that. Well done for pointing that out, guys. I literally saw it. I just retweeted. I was like, I can't believe it. I've got to talk about that on the stream, and then I've been completely done by that. I never do that. I never get done by things like that on Twitter. It's because I was preparing for the stream. That's my kind of excuse, if you like.
Because you thought, that's true, they are. So you've got to read.
Yeah, totally. I was just like, yeah. Neil Creston is here. Hello from Cape Town, he says. Neil, hello, how you doing? Leo is in and modding as ever. Thank you, Leo. Karam is here. David Solis is here. MU Fan TV is here. MU Fan TV, you will be very pleased to hear. Very, very pleased to hear. There's a lot of Sam stats going on. A lot of notes.
I've got some really bonkers ones tonight.
There's a lot of notes going on and a lot of stats going on. So there are going to be some Sam's stats this evening. I read a nice one, actually, which is not really a stat, but I heard it, saw it on Twitter just as I was coming on, and now I'm starting to wonder whether I should believe everything I read on Twitter. But
you definitely shouldn't.
Probably shouldn't. But now, I noticed that every team, so every league in either Premier League or the EFL in the UK,
right,
is being led by a team that begins with L. Did you know that? The only team that starts with the letter L that's not winning the league right now is Leicester. Every other team that begins with L winning the league.
Well, Leicester aren't going to win anything.
Leicester aren't going to win anything, so there we go. There we go. Mark Dorney is here. We're turning into Arsenal, he says. Oh my goodness. What team do you support, Mark? I think he might be Spurs, by the way.
It's never that bad.
I think he might be Spurs. FPL Chancellor is here. Dan, how are you doing? Good evening. Manahar is here. How are you doing? So we've got lots, guys. Lots of you guys in. Thank you for joining us. We've got plenty to talk about. Give us your thoughts on today's action then. So Chelsea versus... we just watched it. Sheffield Wednesday. Chelsea versus Sheffield Wednesday. A very routine win for the Blues. Higuain got his debut. Looks okay. Felt like he led the line pretty well. Interesting, actually, the third goal after he went off, Giroud, was fantastic bit of hold-up play and laid it off to Willian, and a fantastic finish, which is exactly the sort of thing you would expect in Higuain to do. But listen, we'll give him a bit of time. He looked pretty comfortable, I think, in that side. I know it's Sheffield Wednesday at home. I know it's the cup. I know. But looks fine. Looks all right, I thought, Higuain. Thoughts on that, and also thoughts on, very briefly, I guess, on Spurs versus Crystal Palace. What do you make of that? Let's go to Spurs first of all. What did you make of that?
I don't really have
Without swearing too much, if you can possibly help it.
I don't really have anything to say.
Yeah, pretty bad, weren't they? Pretty bad.
Very deflated this week.
I think it's one of those where the lack of signings in the summer, which no one was really talking about for quite a long period of time, is now coming back to haunt Spurs a little bit, isn't it? Because you've got the squad is looking particularly thin after 2 cup games in a week, right?
Yeah.
You really don't want to talk about it, do you?
But Son's back, and all's well for Wednesday.
What?
Yeah.
So I agree with you, and you guys are saying in the live chat, Son is back. Yes, I agree. But didn't he come out and say, I've written it down here, he wasn't fully prepared for the Qatar game, and he feels physically empty.
Yeah. But he's had 5 days off now, so...
Oh, you sound like Poch. You can't rush him back. I mean, he's come out publicly and said, I'm absolutely knackered. Yeah. Please don't play me for a bit.
Sonny, look at the rest of the team. Everybody is knackered. Get yourself a grip and get on the pitch and play a game. For God's sake.
We need you. It's when you're playing players like George Nkudu and Lamella. I
can't care if he's not asleep. That's not...
Get him out
there. Get on the pitch. Stop whinging. Get back here. You've had a little holiday off in the sunshine. Get back here. Get on the pitch and score a blimmin' goal.
Well, I noticed Poch actually come out and said that he hopes that Wednesday he'll be back to help the team. So Pochettino agrees with you. I can't believe
You know the starting 11. It's got Scott Sonny in it. Probably playing in a false 9.
Oh, I cannot believe that he would rush Son back for that game against Watford on Wednesday.
He's
but
not getting any time off. He's just
listen,
back in.
You need him. And very quick thoughts on the Chelsea game. Then aside from Higuain, one of the things of note was that Alonso played in that game.
Yeah.
Alonso didn't play, I think, in the Carabao Cup against Spurs. He played Emerson, and then he plays in the FA Cup. So what are we saying about this? Is this the end of Alonso as an FPL asset, or should we be worried now about rotation with Emerson going forward?
What? No.
Well, there's a. Listen.
You're coming out with a load of nonsense tonight.
What is wrong with that statement? There's a lot on Twitter about how Emerson is potentially going to be coming to the fore. Alonso now a rotation risk. Mark my words. Look out for that.
All right.
Bournemouth away on Wednesday for Chelsea. Is Alonso going to start? You are like so bothered.
I'm so over life at the moment. We've got like 2 cups in 1 week. 2 cups in 1 week. Half the team is injured. The other half's apparently too tired.
I knew tonight was going to be a struggle, guys. I knew it was going to be a struggle because ever since
I'm in a really bad mood.
Ever since the Trippier miss, right, the penalty miss.
Now, how's that happened as well?
See, look, you're on one tonight. Properly on one.
Apparently, he's the best penalty taker in the England camp. Right?
Who said that?
Southgate. And then, not only can we not win a penalty shooter, and don't get me started on the fact that it's the first time the League Cup hasn't been on away goals. This year we'd have gone through on away goals.
Wow. Okay. Wow.
If you can't tell, I'm a little bit upset about the cups.
So, guys, we're going to struggle through this evening with Sam
about the Premier League now?
On a particularly high horse. We're going to move on from the cups. Who needs cups anyway? No one needs cups. It's all about the league. It's all about the Champions League.
Yeah.
Well done to the Chelsea fans. I've just got to say a shout out to Chelsea fans. What a great week. What a great week. They bring in Higuain, beat Spurs in the League Cup, beat Sheffield Wednesday just now in the FA Cup. Great week to be a Chelsea fan. It's looking rosy for you going forward. Potential double game week as well.
They have got a double game week, haven't they now?
Well, do we know that for sure? I don't think that's been announced.
Theirs hasn't been confirmed, but they will have one.
At some stage. Yeah. At some stage. But I'm talking about 25 in a week's time.
That's only been confirmed for City so far.
Exactly. So we are coming, guys, into what I call the real business end of FPL, the business end of the FPL season. So if you're new to FPL, if this is your first season playing it, it's going to start getting interesting. So we've had our first announcement of a blank game week. Those of you that follow us on Twitter and those of you that are big in the Twitter community and watch Andy and all the other guys that are out there, you will know 100% that there is a blank game week coming up in game week 27, right? So City, Everton, Chelsea and Brighton all don't play in 27. Now, if you've got a Chelsea player or if you've got a Brighton player, look out for when that game might be rescheduled. But we already know when the Man City and the Everton game is going to be rescheduled. It's game week 25. So here we are planning for game week 24, but we probably on this stream should talk as much about our planning for the double game week 25. And right now that means double games, 2 games for Everton, 2 games for Manchester City. But of course, if you bring players in for that double game week, which makes absolute sense because they're going to get 180 minutes potentially of time to play, you've then got a problem down the line in 27 when they don't play. So this is when free hit chips come into it. This is potentially when, I don't know, bench boosts and triple captains and stuff come into it. Lots and lots of strategizing around FPL. And for someone that's chasing like me, someone that's a long way behind their main rival, this is the period, this is the season, this part of the season when it starts getting exciting. You start potentially taking a bit of risks and you can potentially take a little bit of a step up. Now, the one thing I will say is that on the back of the FA Cup this weekend, a lot of the Premier League teams are now out. A lot are out. So actually that influences the double game weeks and the blank game weeks between now and the end of the season, insofar as we're unlikely to get as many.
Yeah. Because
the Premier League schedules are going to be not as affected because fewer teams are going to be playing the FA Cup. Does that make sense?
Yeah, I mean, last season, when you think about the blank game weeks, there were like very, very few games on, like 3 or 4 or something ridiculous. So it meant that your teams were massively hit and then your chips were really, really important. And at the beginning of this season, we've been speaking a lot, haven't we, about the importance of holding chips, making sure you've got them for the doubles and the blanks. Actually, the way it's going, you kind of find yourself thinking, well, I can see myself just triple captaining Salah at some point in a single game week, the way it's going. Because I'm looking at those fixtures that City have got as a double and thinking, do I really fancy a City asset triple captained in Arsenal and Everton?
Who can you honestly say from City is definitely going to play those 2 games? Edison, Laporte,
You don't want to triple captain a defender, do you?
Well, no, I'm not talking about them being captain options. Certainly not triple captain options. But you can't. I think it's really hard to go into game week 25 with Sané or Sterling and talk about them as a triple captain option.
Yeah.
Not just because the fixtures are Everton and Arsenal, so not gimmies, are they? Expect City to win them both, they're not gimmies. But equally, it's very difficult to say that either of them are going to play 90 minutes, right? So we're going to come to that a bit later on in terms of chip strategy and what you guys might be doing. We just had a quick super chat from Steve Wynyard. So Steve, thank you for the super chat. He's saying triple captain Sané, and that goes back to the point we were just making. I think it's really hard to triple captain a Man City player for that double game week, But with the news of Mendy's injury, it sounds like he's had a little bit of a reaction to his knee injury.
Again.
Yes, he came on in the FA Cup at the weekend, if I remember rightly, didn't he? Or was it in the game against Burton, wasn't it? The 1-0 win against Burton where they went through, whatever it was, 10-0 on aggregate or something. He had a slight reaction to his knee injury.
They didn't let Burton score, really.
They're not going to let Burton score, are they? But yeah, I think the Man City keeper pulled off a couple of saves where Burton could have scored, but never mind. But in that game, it sounds like Mendy had a bit of a reaction to that knee injury after being out for so long, and because of that, might not feature this game week. We need to have a look at that. So anybody that's bought Mendy in very quickly, that seemed like a very good strategy actually, because he's a great FPL asset. But actually, it feels like Pep is going to be easing him back in, just waiting to see how that knee reacts, and it had a bit of a bad reaction. So I'm not expecting to see Mendy in game week 24. Whether we see him for the double in game week 25, who knows? But if he's confirmed fit for that double game week, then yeah, he's definitely an option. But to answer Steve's question, treble captain Sané?
See, I don't think
I
don't think you can treble captain Sané in that game. Well, you can, obviously. But I think there's two elements of risk for me there. The first one is Sané going to actually play in both of those games? And that depends really, I think, on what happens with Mendy and also what happens with the rotation in the rest of the team. But I also think, that the fixtures aren't that great for a double game week. It's Arsenal and it's Everton.
I agree. Yeah.
So it's not like, he's got a double game week.
Both are defensively pretty bad, though.
Well, they are, but it's not like he's got a double game week against, say, Cardiff and Huddersfield. And then you think, right, well, even if he only plays one, triple captain is probably an okay strategy. Against Arsenal and Everton, you would hope that they would be able to... they're not going to lose 7-0.
No, but do you not fancy Arsenal and Everton to be the sort of sides that go and want to attack City and therefore leave space in behind for those sorts of players? Yes. Huddersfield and Cardiff might just shut up shop and lose 1 or 2-0.
Potentially, but I don't see Arsenal being the sort of club that are going to lose by...
They've got no defenders, Sam.
No, I know that.
Got no defenders at Arsenal.
I just don't see Everton getting... I don't see Everton or Man United or Arsenal getting absolutely done 6-7-0. And the problem with Man City is that you just never know which of the Man City assets is going to score the goals. So they could easily win that game 2-0, but it could easily be KDB and Sterling that get the goals. It could be Aguero that gets the goals. So putting the treble captain's armband on any of them in that double game week feels a bit risky to me.
There's a couple of nice comments in the live chat. John Chappell is saying he set his laptop password to Arsenal_defence, but the computer said it was too weak, so he had to change it. It's very good, that, John. I like that. Let's see what else here. Some nice comments in here. Millwall showed how bad Everton are defensively, Josh is saying. I think you're spot on with that. Alexis Hamilton, who I can only assume is an Arsenal fan, is saying City will annihilate us.
Unless it's Everton.
Well, possibly, but I have to say, I fancy City to go reasonably big against that Arsenal side. I just...
But
Koscielny out. Who else went off? One of the other centre halves. I think was it Socrates went off.
Yeah, he did. Yeah,
Bellerin's injured. They just look. They've got no one there.
Maybe I just don't see. I just don't see one City player going on a riot.
Okay. All right.
Maybe they will, but you've got to go on the right one. That's the problem.
Okay. Well, as I expected, we've gone straight in with chips and strategies on double game weeks and stuff, which of course we should do. Absolutely the hot topic right now. But as ever, I've forgotten to talk about the polls, guys. So get into the polls, top right hand corner.
I haven't got a Jammy Pick.
Oh, you definitely need a Jammy Pick. Some really good ones actually from the community. So have a think as we go along.
I actually have just thought of one, but let's see if ownership is okay.
All right, okay, there we go. Jammy Picks on the fly. I like that.
On
the fly,
moment.
Jammy Picks. So while I talk about the polls, you think about a Jammy Pick. Here are the polls. Top right hand corner, little eye up there. A question from @FPL_Liam. Thank you, Liam, for sending this in. How many double game week players are you looking to have? 0, 1 to 2, 3 to 4, or 5 to 6? So let's get a feel for on the back of our double game week commentary there. You can have a pen. Yeah, you got to write it down.
Yeah.
There we go.
Sorry.
So on the back of our double game week commentary there, who or how many players in the double game week are you looking to have from either City or from Everton? So thank you, Liam, for sending that in. The next one comes from... No, it should be fine. Have I broken your pen? Oh, man. I genuinely haven't got another pen either.
Oh, you are an absolute liability.
You have
as
to,
bad as
there
the
you go.
Tottenham
It's working.
defence.
You're really bitter about Spurs, aren't you? Last 2 days.
I'll tell you something.
Notice no Spurs shirt either. That's it. Oh, okay. Spurs jumper. Okay, very good.
I'll be there on Wednesday night. Listen for the abuse. It'll be me.
Oh my god. The volume in the stadium will go up just for you being there. Next question in the poll is from MilkyXFC at MilkyXFC on Twitter. Who do you believe is the Man City must-have asset between now and the end of the season? You think it's Kun Aguero, Sterling, Sané, Kevin De Bruyne or Mendy? They seem to be the best options, he's saying. So get into the polls, have a look at that. And of course, the last question is Game Week 24. Is that what we're on? Yes, Game Week 24. Captain, and all your favourites are in there, your Aubameyangs and your Salahs and all of that, etc, etc. And we, of course, will be talking about our captains towards the end of the stream when we discuss our teams. I noticed, just as we were doing polls there was a question from Toxic Fusion. Thank you, Toxic Fusion, for the super chat. He's saying he's got no City assets. Would you take a hit to get one? Let's start there then. There's our Twitter, at FPL Family on the left-hand side. I'm going to really tentatively change it to this because... Oh, goodness me. To this because, I'm not used to using a Mac. Here we go. Here comes the technophobe. Right, here are the fixtures for Game Week 24. So Toxic Fusion is saying, Man City then. Man City. Let's start with these guys. Newcastle away. Nice fixture.
Yes.
Double game week.
Yes.
Then another fixture, which I forget what it is. We've got to have a look at that in Game Week 26. The fixture for City is Chelsea. And then, of course, they blank in Game Week 27. So talk to me and talk to Toxic Fusion Super Chat there about your strategy for Manchester City. Because right now, you're Manchester City less, are you not?
Yes.
Okay, so what's your thinking?
I don't know. I actually don't know. And I'm really a little bit struggling with this. So my original plan, as you know, was to lose Alonso to Mendy. Now, obviously, that's a bit of an issue at the moment because of the situation regarding Mendy's dodgy
with the knee, absolutely,
knee.
Yeah.
So now I'm at a situation where I bring in a City attacking player, probably Sané. In order to do that, I would need to lose Felipe Anderson,
which isn't such a bad deal right now. You'd probably be happy to lose him potentially.
Potentially, I'd rather lose Torreira.
Sure,
but I can't. I haven't got the money to do Torreira up to a City unless I do one of the silvers. My issue is that if I get Sané, I'll only keep him until for game week 24 and 25, and then I'll be shipping him again.
You wouldn't want him against Chelsea, presumably?
No.
Okay.
So I'd lose him again for the City game, and then obviously the blank game week after.
Okay.
So what I'm trying to decide is whether it's worth it. Now I'm sort of coming to the realisation that I can't really go into that double game week without a City asset. It's just trying to work out which one is the right one to do. So I think yes, it's worth having a City player in for that double, but I would be prepared to lose them again for game week 26 and therefore game week 27 when there's the blank.
Okay. Mark Erskine and a few of the others are saying Sam Ederson. Now we all know you've got a bit of history with Ederson, but he is now on to play 2 games. So in game week 25. So I'll give you my thoughts on the City upcoming schedule. I'm actually really looking at De Bruyne right now, and a few of you guys in the live stream are talking in the live chat are talking about De Bruyne. And there's a few comments when I said that on Twitter earlier about people not fancying him to play a couple of games. I don't see why not. He's back and he's fit and he's firing. He had a good game in the FA Cup the other day. I think got 3 assists and a goal. Yeah. So in FPL terms, that would have been a 20-pointer. And that was against Burnley, a Premier League side, at home. So I fancy City to do very, very well against Arsenal and Everton. And I do fancy them to do all right against Newcastle. You guys quite rightly are saying in the live chat that Rafa sets them up pretty well at home. So no one's fancying City to go there and really riot. And I agree with that. But I just think he's back in the groove now, and I think given that he didn't play at all over Christmas, I know he was injured, but he hasn't had that sort of fatigue that a lot of the others have had over Christmas. He should be back and fit and firing now, and I fancy him for that double game week, I really do.
But do you think he's going to play... Is he fit enough to play that many games in quick succession, because it's like game.
It's Kevin De Bruyne. He was a mainstay more or less last season, wasn't he? Played every game.
It's not to do with quality or ability or anything like that. But is he physically able to play that many? Like, is he fully back? Like, can he play Wednesday night, or is it Tuesday night? Tuesday night, the weekend, then again the midweek. Like, can he play 3 games in a week?
I think he showed last season he can.
But can he now after the injury?
Well, I don't know. We have to see what he's like against Newcastle, I guess, in the next game. I mean, he showed no signs of injury or fatigue in the last game against Burnley in the FA Cup. Put it that way.
Yeah, but he's not been playing full games in the build-up to that, has he?
Okay, all right. So I'm just telling you what my strategy is going to be. Of course, you can talk about Sané and Sterling, of course. They're both going to be good options, as are other likes of Mahrez. I expect Mahrez to get some game time.
Yeah.
Who else is in there? David Silva, Bernardo Silva. They'll all get game time, I'm sure, as well as the front two, Aguero and Jesus. But my point about all of those is that they feel like it's a complete lottery. Now, don't get me wrong. If you're going to buy a ticket to the lottery, I think you've got to buy one and stick with it, right? And I tweeted earlier that, you know, whoever it is, someone in that City side is going to get 20 points in that double game week. Someone is. But can we honestly sit here and say we know who that's going to be?
No.
We can't.
No.
We can't. It could be Sané, could be Sterling, could be both, could be KDB, Aguero, Jesus, whoever, right? One thing I think is, I wouldn't say it's for certain, but one thing I think is going to happen is that Aguero and Jesus will share a lot of minutes. So I don't think that I'm looking up there for my answer for City. So I am looking in the middle.
Yeah.
I feel like Sterling is possibly a bit more of a rotation risk than Sané, possibly, but not by much.
Do you?
Possibly. But equally, I think Kevin De Bruyne will get game time. And if he's not quite match fit, as you suggest, and not fully up to speed, then perhaps he needs those games to get fully up to speed.
I don't know. Look, I don't know. I don't know enough about KDB's injury. I don't know. And all I do know is that he was mightily peeved when he was left out the other night when I was watching them. And when he only got a few minutes of game time and that kind of stuff. So I think he's fit. It's just, you know, like when the Spurs players came back from injury and it was like, well, they haven't got enough to play 90 minutes 3 times in one game week. I don't know enough about KDB's injury to know whether he's in that position or not, and I'd need to understand that before I would take a punt on him, because I think if you're going to take a punt on City, especially for that double game week, given that the fixtures they're not bad, but they're not brilliant, you have to be fairly sure that they're going to get minutes across both of those games.
Okay, all right. Well, I think it is, as we've suggested here, guys, a mixed bag in the live chat as well. Florin is saying, get Fernandinho. Mark Erskine is agreeing with me on KDB. Wasim is saying, well, Sterling looks like he's probably the best option. And just above that, Jared Whittinger is saying, well, Sané's locked in with the Mendy knee injury. Christina, welcome Christina, she's saying Laporte or Ederson. So listen, there we go. That tells you everything you need to know, guys, about the Man City options. I think my strategy would be buy a ticket to the lottery and hope it comes in. But don't use a triple captainship. So there's me saying don't. I mean, it's a great opportunity to use a triple captainship. Do you think it's a good opportunity to use a triple captainship on a Man City player, double game week? Or is it too risky?
No, I'm more tempted to use my free hit.
Your free hit. So tell me this then. So would you use the free hit if the Chelsea game is not in double game week 25? Because that, I must admit, I've considered the free hit, but only if the Chelsea game gets rearranged to 25, and then you can pile in on Chelsea and Man City, right? That's free hit territory right there. But it looks kind of unlikely, given that Brighton, I think, have got a replay in the FA Cup. Kind of unlikely that we're going to get 2 double game weekers in 25. It looks like it's just going to be Everton and Man City. That's not free hittable, in my opinion. Or is it to you?
I don't know. I do not want a City defender. I do not see them keeping clean sheets against Arsenal. And yeah, they might keep a clean sheet against Everton, but I don't see them keeping a clean sheet against Arsenal. So why bring in a player like, I'm not bringing Ederson back for 1 clean sheet.
And I think Hannah and a few of the other guys agree. Man City defence isn't ideal. Chelsea, Arsenal, and a blank coming up. No, clean sheets will be scarce. So I don't think we're sitting here recommending the Man City defence.
So basically, what you're then talking about is a free hit to get 3 City attacking players, and then it goes back to that issue of, well, do they all play? So I think if the Chelsea game was to get put in the same week, then yes, it's definitely free hittable. If the Chelsea hit game goes somewhere else, then I don't think it's worth it. But I also don't think it's worth the triple captain. I think the triple captain, there will be better games for single game weekers. I think there'll be better games for Sané in a single game week.
And I think arguably, as you guys are saying, I think Florin is saying it, definitely not a free hit. No way. Neil is saying free hit in double game week 32. You're right. You have to consider weeks and weeks down the line here, guys. You have to consider that we're coming to a point in the season when it's very tempting to play your free hit chip. You see Man City, potentially Chelsea with a double. You think, bang, I want 6 players out of those two teams. It's really tempting. But you just have to consider down the line in game weeks 32, as Neil is saying, and I think I think in maybe 35 after that, there's potential more double game weeks depending on what happens in the cups. There will be probably better times to use the free hit chip, I would say.
I agree.
All right, okay, so that's it. That's chip strategy done
to death.
I'm sure we will talk about it more before the hour's up. I'm sure about it. So that's Manchester City. I'm expecting them to go to Newcastle, but not to turn Newcastle over. I think Newcastle will be reasonably resolute and City will come away with the win. Let's go to Arsenal versus Cardiff next then. So my transfer for this game week, to give you some insight into that, is I've got to do something about Kane, guys. I've still got Kane in my team. I've been watching FPL statistics. I've been watching Fantasy Football Fix. He's not dropped any value, so I've been happily sitting on him, just biding my time in terms of what I want to do with him. And I've been kind of deciding whether I switch him for a big hitter like an Aguero or an Aubameyang, or whether I take some money out of him and unlock some of that money to go and buy a Sterling or a Sané or a Hazard.
But you can't go to Firmino.
I can't go to Firmino because I've got 3 Liverpool already, and Trent and Robertson and Salah, right? So I can't do that. And right now, this is the reason I want to pick this up right now, is because no, I think I still want to see how the Higuain and Hazard thing pans out. I think if Chelsea had a double in game week 25, I'd be very tempted.
Yeah.
Very tempted, because their double is potentially Huddersfield and Burnley or something, isn't it? Some ridiculous 2 double home games. So I'd be very, very tempted by that. I actually don't mind the price of Higuain. 9.5 I think is a reasonable price for him, actually. So he's on my radar for sure, on my radar, see how he goes.
Okay.
But for me, I'm very, very heavily looking at Aubameyang. I think the fixtures for Arsenal look very, very good indeed. I noticed some stats about how many chances that Cardiff are conceding in particular, not just in the box, but how many big chances they're giving up. And also how many Aubameyang is getting. Now, we've sat here before. Here we go. Deja vu. He's very wasteful, Aubameyang. We know that he gets those chances, but equally, he's missing those chances.
Yep.
However, against a Cardiff team that is shipping lots and lots of high-quality chances, I cannot believe that Aubameyang doesn't get a couple of goals in that game.
Aubameyang stats?
I would love some Aubameyang stats.
So 1 goal and 1 assist in the last 4 matches. So it proves my point about him.
Sure.
However, in the 15 games that he's got left across the rest of the season, only 3 of them are against the top 6. And of the goals that he has scored, so 13 out of the 15 goals he scored and 4 out of the 5 assists that he's got have come against teams outside of the top 6.
Sure.
So it's, if he's ever gonna do it, it's in the fixtures that they have kind of coming up.
And one of the things that I've been looking at, guys, in terms of future planning is game week 27. Right, so game week 27, as you mentioned before, is blank. It's blank for Man City, it's blank for Chelsea, it's blank for Everton and for Brighton. So I've got problems there. I've got to do something about Richarlison and Digne probably before that game week comes up.
And that's the game where Liverpool and Man United are playing each other?
Yes, I think they're playing each other.
Yeah.
So actually there is no real obvious captain choice there. Not really. Except for the fact that Arsenal, I think, play... Who do they play in 27? They play a really nice game, I think. It might be Southampton at home. Arsenal are playing Southampton at home. So that, for me, is absolutely a captainable fixture for Mr. Aubameyang. So I'm trying to think about, in the future, what happens. And also Arsenal's fixtures outside of Man City, which is game week 25, do look very, very good indeed. And I do fancy him to do well against Cardiff. Not mega impressed with how Arsenal have played recently. I understand that. But actually, the forward play doesn't look too bad. Defensively, they're pretty shocking, I think. And they've got injury after injury. But the two that I've considered, Aubameyang heavily, but also Lacazette. I've had a look at Lacazette as well. And as Wazim Karodia is saying, he wants Lacazette for 27. I've considered Lacazette as well, simply because I'd be saving $2.5 million that I could reinvest in maybe a Sané or a Hazard or somebody in midfield. So thoughts on Arsenal going forward? And why on earth? I mean, how they've not tied Ramsey down to a contract. How can they let Ramsey go? He makes such a difference to that side. He really does. But thoughts on Arsenal?
I fancy Lacazette a lot more than I do Aubameyang.
A lot more than you do Aubameyang?
Yeah.
Why?
I just think Lacazette... I mean, I don't want to go on another Aubameyang rant. But I just feel like Aubameyang isn't... For the money that he's going to cost me in the game, I'd want him to be a lot more consistent with his goal scoring and his returns than he has been. So particularly over the last few weeks. Whereas Lacazette, I kind of feel like, all right, he's not going to necessarily get full 90 minutes every week, but when he comes on, he does seem to do something in every game. So I'd be more tempted with that. Also because it means that I can redistribute that extra 2.5 million into my midfield, which is where the big hitters seem to be at the moment. So
it is the extra money that sort of sways me a little bit towards Lacazette, but it is the minutes, you quite rightly say. He sometimes doesn't start, and if he does start, he tends to be the one to be sacrificed on 70 minutes. I don't think there's any legacy injury or anything there. He just seems to want to change the shape and put Aubameyang up top if he can. So that's the thing that puts me off there. You guys are quite right what you guys are saying in the live chat. Aubameyang can be either a 20-pointer or a blank.
Yeah.
It's very difficult to predict Aubameyang, whereas Lacazette, if he does play, there's an argument there, potentially he's a bit more consistent. So I'm choosing between those two right now, I think, and probably more leaning towards Aubameyang for my Kane transfer, depending on what my strategy for game week 25 is and who I want to get in for that game week. Considering I've got Digne and Richarlison already, which Man City asset do I want? And depending on which one I want will depend on how much money I need to free up with that Arsenal forward coming in.
Will you lose? Because then obviously if you're getting a Man City one, that means you're going to have three players with a blank game week in game week 25.
Yes.
So that's not benchable because you can't risk the rest of your team.
Blanks in 27, you mean?
Sorry, 27.
Yeah.
So which one will you then?
Well, between game week 25 and 27, I would do something about Richarlison and Digne.
Yeah, okay.
I mean, their heads are on the chopping block anyway, frankly, particularly Richarlison. I mean, his performances lately have been absolute guff.
Yeah.
Notice he scored in the FA Cup.
Well, so did Martial.
So did Martial. What good is that? So did Jimenez. So did Doherty. But notice Richarlison scored. It doesn't mean that I'm still really enamoured with him. I'm quite keen to move him on, guys, but I can't. I just can't. Before Huddersfield and then a double game week, you just can't move him on. So he gets a stay of execution for now, but for sure he makes way probably before that blank in 27.
Yeah, okay.
Probably. So that's Everton. A very, very quick word then on Huddersfield and Everton. I'm expecting an away win there. Are you? Or are Huddersfield now a little bit more resolute? Are they showing you a bit more in terms of their defence?
Well, the managers, it'll be his first Premier League game in charge, won't it? In this game, and you never know, do you? With the new manager, you just never know how they're gonna react, if they're gonna bounce back, if they're gonna come all out.
From an Everton perspective, you got any Everton players? Digne is in your side, right? Happy to play him this game week?
Yeah, I mean, there's some. Yeah, I mean, Huddersfield have never won a midweek match. They've had 9 attempts, they've never won any.
Okay.
Everton have kept a clean sheet in the last 3 out of 4 Premier League matches versus Huddersfield. So Digne, in Digne we trust this week, I think.
In Digne we trust. All right, we'll leave it there. I think that's all we need to say on that one. Very quickly, because we're at 43 minutes already, let's discuss a couple more of these games because we need to do teams and Jammy Picks and captains and stuff. United versus Burnley. I don't want to spend too long on that because if you've got United assets, absolutely play them. Pogba and Rashford are in. Captain options for you? Pogba and Rashford this game week? What do you think?
Yeah.
I think so, don't you? Burnley, since Heaton has come back in, have showed a little bit more resolve since Joe Hart has been dropped, I think. So from that perspective, I'm thinking that Burnley might be a bit more resolute than the fixture on paper suggests. However, still Pogba and Rashford, very, very good options. And I'll be playing treble Manchester United attack in that game.
I think there's a number of factors which mean that this is a Man United win. There's the fact that Solskjaer can become the first Premier League manager to win first 7 games ever.
I think he's doing an unbelievable job. I must say, when he first come in, I thought, well, the fact that he's not Mourinho and he's played Huddersfield and Cardiff and Pogba's come back. All right, so it's not really Solskjaer. It's players like Pogba stepping back up.
No.
Here we are. They've beaten Spurs. They've beaten Arsenal, haven't they? They're playing very, very well, playing some really, really good stuff. Starting to wonder whether Solskjaer might be the answer for United, which as a Pochettino fan, I guess you might be quite pleased about.
I'm delighted.
Go on,
Long
Ollie.
live Ollie.
Long live Ollie.
Yeah, carry on, Ollie. All is forgiven.
Any more to say about United other than play them?
Play them. I'm seriously thinking about. I'm going to captain Salah, let's be honest. But I really did think about Rashford captain this week, really did.
Yeah, let's go to that game next. And then Liverpool versus Leicester. Leicester in what can only be described as a bit of a poor run of form.
A bit.
Both sides have had a break, so both were out of this weekend's FA Cup. So both should be feeling reasonably refreshed. Liverpool in particular have been on, I think, a 10-day break to Dubai, having some sort of warm winter training.
Have they? How
so
nice.
They should come back feeling fully fresh and ready to go for that game.
They're not tired.
I doubt. Well, they should be feeling pretty good. At home to Leicester, I guess that you're captaining in Salah. Would I be right in saying that? Yes, me too. I'm tempted by elsewhere. I'm tempted by Aubameyang if I get him in. I'm tempted by Rashford and Pogba, of course. But I think Salah is just the man in form right now. You cannot ignore him.
Well, I just think that for me, in the position that I am, I'm trying to make steady gains rather than huge gains because of where I am positioned now. So with players like Salah, with the ownership levels that he has, if I don't captain him, given that he's probably likely to be the most captain player most game weeks, apart from maybe in the doubles, that's going to probably cost me if he does something and I've not captained him. So it feels like an unnecessary risk to put the armband on anyone else for me.
Okay. All right, yeah. And you've got Firmino as well, which presumably you're pretty happy about.
Yeah.
I've got Trent Alexander-Arnold. At the moment, he's my first sub. But if we get a bit more news about him potentially playing, then I've got a choice to make between either him or Richarlison. I can't believe that I would bench Richarlison against Huddersfield. It just seems so wrong. So it looks like Trent might be first sub for me either way. But yeah, I think less said about that, the better. If you've got Liverpool playing, captain Salah.
Yeah, I mean, unbeaten in the last 32 home matches.
Looking pretty good, despite the squeaky bum time that we had against Crystal Palace in our last home game. I would expect the Reds, hopefully, touch wood, to go marching on against Leicester. Spurs versus Watford. I think that could be a trickier game than it looks on paper for Spurs. The one thing I will say, guys, is that, and you guys that are in the UK will probably know this, we are due some snow here in the UK. It's particularly cold right now in the UK. And there is a yellow weather warning for the southeast of the UK. I feel like Michael Fish here. Google it, kids. I feel like Michael Fish.
Get you a green screen.
Get a green screen and it's like a weather map or something. So I just saw as I was coming on that the weather for the London and southeast region, all the way down to the southern border, the sort of Southampton and Bournemouth sort of area, there's a yellow snow weather warning for Tuesday night and Wednesday night. So what does that mean? Well, the game's on Tuesday night. I'm pretty sure it might snow during those games, but it's not going to have snowed before that game. So it's going to be fine, right? They'll have gritted the roads around the stadium and the pitch won't be frozen, all that sort of stuff. It'll be fine. But come Wednesday night...
I can't wait to sit in the snow at Wembley.
You're going to be sitting in the snow at Wembley. Not that I for a minute think that either the Vitality or Anfield or Wembley or Southampton Stadium, I don't feel like any of those will have any problem with frozen pitches or anything, right? But nowadays we know that sometimes games can get called off because of treacherous conditions around the stadium. There's infrastructure problems, there's ice on the roads and all that sort of stuff. I'm not wanting to spook anybody out here in terms of games being cancelled, but just look out for that. Just look out for that. That Wednesday night, there is potential for those games to maybe get frostbite and be cancelled. I think it'll be fine. But that's something to look at. And then you've got to have a look at whether the snow continues past Wednesday, Thursday, Friday and into the weekend.
Well, it is supposed to, isn't it?
Which it is supposed to down here.
Can't wait to run in it at the weekend.
And we are in the London and South East regions, you guys know, and we've seen the forecast. It is supposed to snow for the rest of the week up until the weekend. So not only have we got a 10k run to do on Sunday, which is going to be freezing, but those game week 25 games at the weekend may be at risk if we see more snow than we think we're going to see. A quick shout out to FPL Tips. Thank you, Tips, for the super chat. Happy Sunday, says Happy Sunday Tips. FPL Family is greater than uni work. Thanks as always, he says.
Aww.
Very kind of you, Tips, although uni work is very important, my friend. Very important.
Work hard, you've only got a few months left. Come on.
He's doing very well at uni by all accounts, so it's nice that you want to stop and have a little break with FPL Family, but as soon as we're done, straight back to the uni work.
No dancing on ice for you.
No dancing on ice. No dancing on ice. So there we go, guys. A quick snow report from me there. Not that it will probably mean much. I'm thinking it'll be fine. But listen, could be a problem.
Like Andrew's comment.
Andrew, you sure it's not a weather warning from 2012? Yeah. Okay, I'm not going to hear the end of this one, am I? I'm not going to hear the end of this. Where else do we want to go? Bournemouth versus Chelsea. Bournemouth, who cannot defend against Chelsea and their new look attack. Just a couple of minutes on those. Got any stats?
What on Bournemouth and Chelsea? Yeah, I have got some stats. What would you like? Wilson looking to score in 3 consecutive matches in the Premier League for the first time. Hazard has had a hand in 8 goals in 8 matches versus Bournemouth.
I fancy Bournemouth to score in that game, don't you? I'm probably going to play Fraser. Or will I play Fraser? I don't know. Probably got some better options in my side.
I've still got Alonso. What to do? Yeah. I think it's a Chelsea win, but I do fancy Bournemouth to score as well, yeah.
Okay, all right. It'll be interesting to see whether Alonso plays. Obviously, if you've got Hazard, you've got to... Well, honestly, the guy, even the Chelsea fans on here are calling for Emerson to get a game. There's no doubt. There's definitely no smoke without fire there. And Wolves versus West Ham. I just got to call this game out because that was the most cringe video I've ever seen from Marko Arnautovic. Have you seen this video?
Yeah, he looks dead behind the eyes.
What is that about, guys? What is that video about? If you haven't seen that video, go and check out at FPL Family on Twitter. Go to my timeline and scroll down a little bit from, I think, yesterday. There's this video of Arnautovic saying, I'm really happy here. Don't believe what they say in the media. I'm more than happy. I'm going to sign a contract extension. News of a contract extension, by the way, that came out minutes after they got dumped. And it was a dumping out of the cup by Wimbledon. 4-2.
It was a very bad news story.
It's just awful. Josh is saying he's being held hostage. Yeah, it feels like it, doesn't it? It was a really, really odd video, right? But nevertheless,
it's only so he can get more money for him when he goes in the summer.
I guess. But FPL in that game, I'm definitely not looking to bring back Arnautovic quickly, right? I want to see how the dust settles on that. Felipe Anderson, you still got him. How are you feeling about owning him right now?
Well, see, this is my issue, right? So... West Ham, unbeaten in the last 8 Premier League matches on a Tuesday. There you go, Emmy Fan TV. Anderson's been directly involved in 4 out of the last 5 Premier League away goals for the Hammers.
Okay.
So in order to bring in
he loves a trip then.
He does. In order to bring in my City player, I need to ship Anderson. But I don't think I want to do it yet because it's an away match against Wolves where there's potential that he could score. Wolves aren't that good defensively at the moment, so I'm tempted to keep Anderson for this week and then get a City player in purely for the double game week.
Okay. All right, interesting.
It seems a bit of an odd one, though. I don't know.
Interesting. And from a Wolves perspective, do you fancy Jota now? We've spoken a lot about him on Twitter. Hat-trick, of course, last game week. And at a time when we're looking to get off of... Well, probably not Richarlison now with the double coming up, but maybe getting off of Anderson and a few others. Is Jota your man? You like the look of him, or is it a wait and see still?
No, I don't. I've got Doxy and I've got Jimenez, and I'm not trebling up.
Okay, all right. Well, I noticed that the fixtures for Wolves look very, very good. He's got over his injury now, Jota, and actually the Wolves fans that I speak to on Twitter say that it was about this time last year in the Championship that he really came to the fore. He really drove on between now and the end of the season. So I don't think it's... I'm absolutely not writing him off just yet, Jota. I think he could be a very good option. Having Jimenez puts me off because I don't want to double up. But I also feel like, that if I wasn't a Jimenez owner, I would be absolutely getting on Jota because I think that is just a route into a very, very good Wolves side with very good fixtures. And he's a differential. He's He's got to be a decent jammy pick, I think, for this week. I doubt if he's over 5% still, Jota. So...
I can tell you.
Very, very good pick, I think. Very, very good pick. I just want to do a quick look, guys, before we go on any further too. Let's see. So I want to have a look just before we go on to talk about teams and captains and jammy picks and all that sort of stuff. A very quick shout out to any of our new patrons that have joined in the last few days. So we are coming up to game week 25, guys. Obviously it's 24 on Wednesday and Tuesday and Wednesday. But then this time next week, game week 25 will already be live. So we'll be into the first FPL Family Manager of the Month come game week 25. So you've got until game week 25 starts, which is Saturday. So about 6 days from now. Got until Saturday to join our Patreon League and join in that Manager of the Month and have a chance of winning that Premier League shirt. Whatever you do, don't become a patron on Sunday because you've got a whole month to wait before you can get into the March Manager of the Month, which of course will be, as we say, doing this on a monthly basis. But if you want to take part in the February Manager of the Month, you've got between now and Saturday's FPL deadline. There's not a game on Friday, is there?
No, because
Saturday.
It's midweek games.
So there's no game on Friday, so you've got until Saturday's deadline to get onto patreon.com/FPL Family and take part in our February Manager of the Month competition, which is going to run from 25 to 28 with double game weeks and blanks and all sorts of things. So it should be a good little competition. Doesn't matter how you've done so far this season. If you're having an absolutely terrible season, I was going to swear then. If you're having a terrible season, then get involved with this, because you'll start from zero, same as everybody else in Game Week 25. And if you're the top manager between Game Weeks 25 and the close of 28, you will win a Premier League shirt of your choice. The league code is on Patreon, guys. Won't be on here. Won't be on Twitter. Won't be anywhere else.
And if
than just unlocked for our patrons.
If you are a patron, there's not all of you are currently in the league. So for goodness sake,
oh, really? Okay.
If you are a patron, get the league code from the locked.
Yes, and any of our patrons that are watching and you can't get access to the league code for whatever reason, come find us. Come find us
Join
at FPL Family. Come find Sam at FPL Family on Instagram, and we will sort that out. I
looked at it and was like, there's definitely not enough teams in here.
Yes, I think you're right.
So
possibly. So get into that league, guys.
The league.
And not only that, we also have been doing our FPL Family Ohana podcasts on a Friday, where we just drop a few random thoughts into a podcast. It might be, as I did one a couple of days ago about the upcoming schedule, the double game weeks, what I thought about the Spurs squad. Don't know if you listened to that.
No, I didn't, because I thought it might annoy me.
And what I thought about the Chelsea signings, etc. And then you did one the week before about the upcoming game week and your team. So we just drop a few thoughts out to our patrons, don't we, via a podcast.
Maybe we could film this one from the green room at the FPL show.
Maybe we could do that. Maybe we could get Jules to be on it. There we go, exclusively for patrons, a podcast with Jules Breach, potentially. I haven't asked Jules yet.
Well, we'll see. There might be a nice little Premier League player in there.
Might be a Premier League player. It might be a Danny Gabardon or a Steve
Get
Sidwell.
him in.
That is a great idea, Sam from FPL Family. That is what we're going to do for our patrons.
Oh, I'm glad we're back to my full name. I'm going to change my name by default next week to Sam from FPL Family.
That's a great idea. We're going to try and make that happen, guys. We're on the FPL show on Thursday, so you'll see us on the app on Friday. And what we'll try and do is get an interview with Jules or somebody down at the FPL show, and we release that as a FPL Family Ohana podcast exclusively to our patrons on Friday. So there's another reason, guys. Another reason. If February's manager of the month wasn't a good enough reason for you to get into our Patreon, then there we go. We're doing a Ohana podcast with somebody. We don't know who. Just for our patrons, and that'll be live next Friday. All right, so there we go. Patreon.com/FPL Family. The link is in the description. Go check it out. Go become a patron. Thank you for supporting us, all of you patrons that already signed up, and look forward to kicking that off in Game Week 25.
It's going to be so exciting. I'm really looking forward to this. I'm looking forward to
that, because actually this time next week, which will be when we're streaming live next, it'll have started. And we'll have some front runners out there ready to win the February Manager of the Month. So nice, excellent, like the sound of that. So there we go. So those are the fixtures. I need to go back into here, I think, and I need to have a look. Oh my goodness me!
I had to have a really random ones for Every Fan TV.
Bear with me on the technology, guys. Here we go.
You can tweet in my random stats later.
Right. So I need to go to. I said I haven't got used to this, Sam. This Mac. Here we go. So here's my team for the weekend. Let's just refresh it. Here is my team for the weekend. Largely uninspiring goalkeepers. Foster away at Spurs and Fabianski away at Wolves. I'm putting Foster in there because it's not impossible that Spurs have an off day.
Right. So first of all, I can't. I'm laughing at MU Fan TV and he's saying if he wins, can we talk about Watford for 5 minutes? And you're playing Foster versus Spurs.
I actually don't know if I can talk about Watford for 5 minutes. So I'm playing Foster against Spurs because if the Spurs that played against Palace today turns up, you've got no hope in scoring any goals.
I can't wait to ring you from the stadium and laugh.
I hope I'm wrong. I hope I'm wrong. Obviously, I hope I'm wrong. But
no, you don't.
But listen, I watched Llorente today, and that guy is
What did I tell you about him? I've told you for weeks.
He's awful. And I watched some of the other players, and Lamela is just... He's awful.
Now listen, don't you start on Lamela. You and me have a row.
Oh, you literally have nobody that can score goals. Even Trippier missed it from the penalty spot. So the risk of upsetting you even more, I'm playing Foster.
How much does divorce cost?
I'm playing Foster this week. The rest of the team, guys, I'm pretty happy with. So Dina and Richarlison, despite their poor form, I think you've got to play them away to Huddersfield. Doherty and Jimenez at home to West Ham. I fancy Wolves to do okay there. And then the rest kind of picks itself. It's the Pogba and Rashford show, clearly at Old Trafford against Burnley. It's Robbo and Salah for Liverpool. Fraser has to make do with a bench spot, I think, unless I have a massive change of heart. And of course, Kane is going to become either Aubameyang or Lacazette, depending on my thinking over the next couple of days. I'm still leaning towards Aubameyang. Still leaning towards Aubameyang for that Cardiff game, but Lacazette could be a nice differential if I fancy jumping up a few places. So there we go. That is my team for the game week. Pretty happy with that. Let's have a look at your team for the game week. Here we go. So this will be as we always do, your team from last week. So any changes to that? What's going to happen?
There haven't been any changes yet. I still have 2 free transfers, so there will be a change. My plan was Torreira to Son, but now that the double game week's been announced, I'm now pondering on Felipe Anderson to Sané, but not yet. That'll be next week. That'll be like game week's 25's transfer. Alonso maybe this week, but I don't know.
Okay.
I don't know.
Okay.
I'm really struggling with my transfers at the moment because I'm actually quite happy with them.
Sure.
So
well, roll it then. Have you got?
I've got to. So
okay.
I've got to do something. So it might be Alonso. I just have to see.
Okay, very good. I noticed a few in the live chat saying it's a bit blurry. Maybe the video's only at 480p. So sorry about that, guys. We will fix that for next time. This is just, like I said before, new technology. So thank you for the feedback. We will fix that so that we can see the teams a bit better. But your backline is Digne, Robertson, Doherty, Lloris between the sticks, Felipe Anderson, Pogba, Salah and Fraser in midfield, Firmino, Rashford, Jimenez up front.
Yes.
Reasonably happy?
Yeah.
Reasonably happy. All right. Let's go and have a look at Jammy Picks then. So while I'm finding the community's Jammy Picks from earlier, talk to me about your Jammy Pick for this week. Who is he and what team does he play for?
Well, normally I give a little shortlist.
Yes, but you forgot to do it.
But basically, so what was actually going on, if we're really, really honest, is that I was making my notes, as Lee will testify, and I was making them for like 45 minutes before Spurs kicked off, and then the game kicked off, and I just put them aside.
Nice.
And then I've been in such a grump that I forgot about the Jammy Pick that I hadn't decided I was going to do at half time.
Who have you gone for? Spur of the moment, Jammy Pick.
Glenn Murray at Brighton.
Glenn Murray.
Yeah. Yeah, Murray has scored. So I did.
Why?
Because I had a stat on him. So Murray has scored 5 goals in the last 4 Premier League matches versus Fulham. He's only owned by 2.2%. So why not take a punt?
Glenn Murray.
Yeah.
Glenn Murray, guys, you heard it here first. Let's go to the community and find out for you guys that have clearly put more thought into your Jammy Pick than Sam has.
That's a good one. There's a good reason behind it.
Oh, goodness me, really? At FPL Booster is saying Iwobi. Quite like that as a Jammy Pick. Quite like that. If he gets a start, Iwobi could be. I might even like that tweet. Very good, FPL Booster. John Wall in there with his team of differentials. Look at that. Jota, Captain, Ericsson, De Bruyne, Higuain, Llorente.
Jota, Captain. Llorente. Why is Llorente anybody's team? It's baffling.
Melissa Brooks, Mel, if you're in, welcome. She's saying Alex Pritchard. Very good. Let me see. Alex Pritchard, a nice Jammy Pick. At FPL Hints, Ash is saying Said Kolasinac. Very good pick. FPL Mechanically, your favourite Lamella, 0.8% TSB. Didn't start today against Palace, so should start, I guess.
Will start
in the game at the weekend, but goodness
Wednesday.
me, what a player! What a player! Rushil Joshi, thank you for joining. Rushil, thanks for tweeting us earlier. Now here's one I like: James Ward-Prowse, 0.5% TSB. We haven't, and it's my fault, we haven't spent enough time talking about the Southampton options, and we probably will be, I think, after the next game week, because Redmond looks to be fit and firing now. You've got James Ward-Prowse there that the Saints fans like, and he takes the odd set piece. Danny Ings is starting to get a bit more game time as well. Bednarek is in there at 3.9. Valerie now looks nailed on for that fullback position now that Cedric Suarez has left and gone on loan. So actually there's starting to be some very, very good options in that Southampton team. And the fixtures look incredible for Southampton going forward. So James Ward-Prowse, Ruscio, I like that. Very good. And Ragab is saying exactly the same thing, as is FPL Chris. So a lot of people going for James Ward-Prowse, 0.5% TSB. Now that is what you call a proper jammy pick. Bloody Glenn Murray.
What is wrong with Glenn Murray?
James Ward-Prowse, very good. Dan
he
FPL
scores,
Chancellor
I'm going to really laugh.
in the live chat is saying Ryan Babel.
Not with that hair.
Had a good start, didn't he? Had a good debut in his last games. He didn't play too badly, I don't think. Passed the eye test for me. Andy Nash at FPL Nashville 86. Step up 0.2%. Steve Mounier. New manager bounce for Huddersfield against an Everton team that cannot defend.
Well, that is true.
Really inconsistent. Yep, I'm agreeing with you there, Andy. There's a lot to agree with there, mate. Sunny Dasgupta is saying Llorente. No, we're going to move on from that.
Not Llorente.
FPL Turn is saying differential pick Jan Valery. Yes, we've just mentioned him. 4 million. Is he 4 million, Valery? 4 million.
Just makes me want to sing.
Potentially out of position. So there he is, number 43 in this graphic here. There he is, the third most advanced player in that Southampton team, Jan Valery, attacking fullback. Looks to be a bit more assured, and if you're a Saints fan, get on the live chat and tell me I'm wrong if you like, because I'm happy to be corrected. But with Cedric Suarez out of the picture, Valery is looking a bit more of a pick now at 4.0. So him and Bednarak look like very, very good options indeed. Sacco back at Palace, very, very good. Benteke essential, goodness me. Another one for Ward-Prowse. D-Mugs, Musa Ozil. So lots of good ones in there, but I particularly like James,
Glenn Murray.
I don't know about Glenn Murray. I particularly like James Ward-Prowse. That is a nice pick. Very nice
there you
pick.
go, Hannah. That's the song I want to sing every time he says Valerie.
What's that? Oh, why don't you come on over, Valerie? Yeah, great.
Every time.
So I like James Ward-Prowse for Jammy Pick, but the FPL Family Jammy Pick for this week is
Glenn Murray.
Glenn Murray, 2.2% owned, 6.3 in the game, playing Fulham away, isn't he?
Yeah.
Away?
Yeah.
They're no good away.
Don't matter.
Oh, goodness me.
Ryan's coming back as well, isn't he?
Wow.
But don't think he'll be back yet.
He's up against Tim Ream, so you never know what's going to happen there, do you? You never know what's going to happen against Tim Ream. Guys, before we go, we've got to look at the polls for this evening. Let's have a look at the polls. So here we go. Let's see how you answered these questions. Sam from FPL Family. Game week 24 captain. Salah, Aubameyang, Hazard, Rashford or Aguero? Mo Salah, the Egyptian king. 87% of you going with Salah. I think that is going to be the default choice this week, don't you? Aubameyang 8, Rashford 1, and no love for Hazard or Aguero. But 87% of you going with the Egyptian king with Mr. Mo Salah. Liverpool at home to a very, very out of sorts Leicester side. How many double game weekers for game week 25? Thinking a week in advance, Sam, are you going to have none? You're going to have 1 to 2, 3 or 4, or 5 or 6?
I'll have 2.
2, okay, let's see. Most of you guys are hovering around the mean, which I guess is to be expected. So, actually, 54% of you are saying 3 to 4, which I think is the bracket I'm going to be in. Probably Richarlison, Digne, and somebody from Man City.
But I've only got 1.
Indeed, yeah. So 54% are going 3 to 4, 40% are going 1 to 2, 3% of you 5 to 6, really loading up, and then there's only 1 of you that are going with 0. 1% of you going with 0. So it looks as if most are going with about 3 or 4, given that loading up on 5 or 6 just gives you a problem in 27, doesn't it? Because you've got to get rid of them. The must-have Man City option, MCFC option for this season, for the rest of the season, if you could pick just one, Sam, Aguero, Sterling, Sané, Mendy or KDB, the must-have for the rest of the season.
God, what a question this is.
Difficult, isn't it? Difficult.
Because for now it's Sané, but for the rest of the season, I'll probably have KDB.
KDB for the rest of the season. Interesting.
But for now, it's Sané.
54% of you are saying Sané. 29% are saying Sterling. Only 3 on Aguero. 1% on Mendy and 9% going KDB. I have to say, I do think KDB is going to be a good option between now and the end of the season. I really do. But I can't argue with what you guys are saying. Sané is a very good option. Even with Mendy back, Pep has shown that he can play them both together. So I don't foresee too much downside in owning Sané. I don't foresee too much downside there. I really don't. He's still a very, very good option. So there we go. Those are the polls, guys. Those are the polls. That is it, I think. That is it for this week on FPL Family. Thank you very much for joining. We've got, as we said before, the FPL show on Thursday. So we're heading down to Uxbridge again to shoot the FPL show on Thursday with Jules and James. Like I said before, we will try and get an interview with one of those guys or some sort of FPL musings from somebody in the green room to talk about, to get onto our Patreon podcast. And like I say, the next time that you see us will be next Sunday when we do a Game Week 24 review. And actually a Game Week 24 and 25 review, won't it? Because those games on Saturday are Game Week 25, right? So we'll be, be 2 weeks to talk about, 2 game weeks to talk about.
Well, that's going to be
so difficult. Next Sunday we will have a lot to talk about. So 2 game weeks full, and it'll be too late by then to take part in the FPL Family Patreon League for February. So if you want to get in and be part of the Manager of the Month for February, do it before the Game Week 25 deadline, which is on Saturday morning. And as ever, thank you to all of you guys that are already in the Patreon League and supporting us over on Patreon. The link's in the description. Go check it out. If you want to come and support us, want to take part in that February Manager of the Month, do it before Saturday morning.
Fan TV, there is no point in giving any seconds to Watford this week because they're playing Spurs.
Not a second on Watford, really, guys, he says. Yeah,
because we didn't give any seconds to Spurs either.
It's kind of hard to fit every team in because we kind of there's a lot of discussion, Fan TV, obviously on the blanks and the double game weeks and the strategy and when you're using chips and stuff. And I feel that's going to become a bit more of a theme actually as we go forward, don't you? As we get onto the live streams, it's going to be less talking about, fixture, more about, who's got the double, who's got the blank. There's going to be a lot of transfer activity. It's going to be. I'm looking forward to it. I think this is an opportunity for those of us that are a little bit behind or having a bit of a bad season to make a bit of a jump up.
Obviously, I'm at the game with Watford on Wednesday night, so I'll do some special mentions to Watford on Wednesday.
Very good. All right,
Instead.
very good. So, guys, look out for us on the FPL show on Thursday/Friday, depending on which region you live. We'll be back, as ever, live here this time next week on Sunday, where we'll be looking at Game Week 24 and 25. We'll be reviewing 2 game weeks worth of stuff, as well as, I don't know, well, Game Week 25 will still be going on, right? Because the Everton and Man City game, presumably, is midweek. So we'll have half of the double will have been played, and, it's just...
Bonkers.
I love it. I love this time of the season. This is what, I said it the other day on Twitter, sorts the FPL wheat from the FPL chaff this time of the season, doesn't it? All the dead teams just fall by the wayside, and everyone that's really taking it seriously and using their chips properly starts to rise to the top. Very, very exciting part of the season. As ever, guys, at FPL Family on Twitter, at FPL Family on Instagram. Go check out the Facebook, search FPL Family on Facebook, and you can find us on there too. Give us a like before you go. We'd love you to like the video. And if you're new, hit that subscribe button, hit notify. And we will see you this time next week on our next live stream. Good luck in Game Week 24 and 25. Green arrows, guys. See you
Double
soon.
green arrows, everyone. Take care.